Hello, hello, everyone. Welcome back for another positive talk. Hopefully, you all have been doing well. I know that I've got a busy week this week, and then I'm celebrating my boyfriend and my birthday this weekend with friends. So, trying to get through the busy week so that I can have fun with all my friends. But super excited about today's conversation because we're diving into the importance of focusing around mental health. And I believe he is someone that has definitely experienced the impact of how stardom as well as being in the spotlight can impact your mental health, and you have to figure out new ways to navigate. So let's see if I can find him real quick. I will invite him in, then we will go ahead. Oh, and feel free to ask questions. We'll try to get to them.
Okay,
Hello.
let me make sure my angle is good. Okay, it's all about the angles here. Hold on.
Yes, for sure.
Okay, I feel like I'm so too close. Okay, all right,
Hey, maybe you can read the comments when they pop up because I'm sitting further back and sometimes I'm like sitting there squinting to see them.
perfect. I'm very good at reading the comments. Why do I feel like I'm so dark? What's going? Hold on. Okay, I feel like that's better.
You good?
Yes, I feel good. Okay,
Good.
hi
How's your
Ben,
day
how
been
are
going
you?
so far? I've been doing great. I got up early and been doing a lot of work and excited to jump into this conversation with you.
Me too. I when you were sending me times, I was like, damn, ain't nothing earlier than 12.
Yes, I try to like make my day revolve around like when my like awake status turns on. If
Yes,
you get
yes.
me any earlier, like I'll be sitting here like, what do you say?
Me, I'm over here like, cause what are you on the West Coast?
I'm here on the East Coast.
Oh, you're on the East
Yeah.
Coast. Yeah, get your ass up. Get your ass up. Cause I'm on the East Coast and I'm up at 7 o'clock in the morning, okay?
Oh, yeah, I've got things to do in the morning that like require to happen. Whether or not I do them depends on how I treat people throughout the
Okay.
day. And if I've got a series called Positive Talk, I need my shower, I need a walk, I need some like fitness in, I need food. All of that
Okay.
has to happen. If it doesn't happen, then Sassy Drummond comes out
Oh, we
and
love that. We love a good sassy queen. We love a good sassy queen. That's always makes it fun.
well, I'll let you introduce yourself so people know who you are, and
Yeah.
then we can dive into the
Okay.
conversation.
My name is Derek Frazier. People know me as Big D. I was on Big Brother 23. And I don't know if I should spoil it, but I did pretty good. That's all I can
Yeah,
say.
yeah.
I was a part of this big alliance that people I put together called the Cookout. And it was an experience. I will tell you that. Doing reality TV, I done it when I was young. I don't like to really talk about it, but I did like MTV Made.
Okay.
Wink, wink. Don't go watch it. um, but I did that when I was younger, and then to come back and be like this grown adult and go and do this like reality show that's like filmed 24 hours, 7 days a week was it's really crazy. But yeah, for Philadelphia, I'm single. I'm 32. I identify as a bear. I am looking for love, and I am a picky bitch. That's all I can say.
Oh, I absolutely love it. And I'm glad that you were able to kind of bring a reality TV show perspective to the topic of mental health because I
Yeah,
feel like it is so easy for us to watch people online and watch people on shows and see the fragments that are shared
yeah,
and assume we understand the way people are navigating things. But we have to understand that even if you were filmed 24 hours in a house, the TV show is still only showing us bits and pieces of it. And a lot of times it's crafted to kind of entertain
yeah.
and bring people to conflict and show certain areas so that it leaves you hanging for a cliffhanger. But your lives are also a part of that
Of
show. And the
course.
person you are before and after is impacted by that show. And I would love to hear a little bit more about uh, before you were going into the show, like what you were expecting, and then like now that you're on the other side, like how are you feeling about that?
Going into the show, I know like I went into it being not a super fan. I was like a in between. Like I love reality TV. Anytime I get a chance to compete, like I'm like, oh, I can cause drama. I'm all here for it. That's what I love about reality TV. That's why we love Housewives. But going into it mentally, I felt very prepared as of I got this. This is a walk in the park. Like I'm not worried. I also come from a family of having a famous father. My dad was Smoky Joe Frazier, the boxer. So I also been in the paparazzi and the limelight and the news outlets and all that type of stuff. So I'm like, I'm not worried. But mentally, when you get there, you have to think about it. Like, you first got to go through a sequester. So a sequester, you're cut off from like everybody for like a whole week and a half, maybe up to 2 weeks. And not saying like that kind of messes with you a little mentally too, because you go from this and working common things, and then out of nowhere it's like we cut you off. So you go through that, and then you live in this house. And keep in mind, what makes this show different is that there are cameras 24 hours, 7 days a week. Are they always on? Not all the time, but majority of the time it is. So if you're thinking about it, people are like watching you, and you're not really thinking right now with me brushing my teeth that someone's watching me brush my teeth. And then you go through this experience, like it's very like, I will say Big Brother was positive, but it also has its negatives. But you go through this experience, and then keep in mind, you gotta send people home there, your friends, like you live in the house together, you gotta cook, you gotta eat, you gotta clean, but then you also gotta backstab people. So it's like, really, we're talking about the Hunger Games up in here. It's just that no
Yeah.
one dies. That's the
Yeah.
only thing. But it feels like someone dies. But going into the house, I felt mentally ready. It was the outside. Like when you come out the house, I mentally was not all the way there. I've always had a big shield. Always had a big shield. I felt very confident. I felt very like ain't nobody ever gonna break me down. And when I came out the house, that shield was tested hard and constantly and all the time, because mentally people don't understand when you do a reality show, there's a lot of hate and stuff that comes with it. Now I know we think about the celebrities that are like top level and the hate that they deal with. I can't imagine. We only get a little bit of it. Just our little reality stars, we only get a little bit of it. So it's like I can't imagine how big it is, because even with the stuff that I dealt with mentally, it was like, wow, like people really feel that way about you because they watched you and felt like they know you. But in reality, you don't really know somebody just because you watch them 24 hours, 7 day a week on a competition show. If you really want to get to know somebody, you should put a camera in their house when they're not playing a competition show, and then you could really say, I know who this person is. Because when you're at home in the comfort of your own home and doing your daily routine, that's where you're at. But mentally, it can really mess with you. And I've realized kind of over the couple of years that I make sure when I talk to a lot of these Big Brother alums and house guests, I always let them know, hey, mentally, if you need somebody to talk to, I'm here to talk to, or anybody else, in our community, because you go through a lot of transitions. I will tell you that, Ben. It's very it's some of the stuff you see, you're like, wow. You're like, okay, got it. And you can see it constantly. Till this day, I still see stuff. I still get hate and things and all that type of stuff. And mentally, you have to really check in with yourself.
Yeah.
But if you're not ready for it, it can hit you like a ton of bricks.
Yeah. I am definitely not at the level of a reality TV star, and I know what it feels like when you put yourself out there in front of the world. Most of the time it does not mean you went into it knowing that you're going to have to face everyone's opinion of you and everything thrown at you. There's so many different ways you can navigate it, and some people you see cut off people completely, like block themselves into a little space. But for me, I'm the type of person, I'm very social and I like engaging with people, and for me in that sense it means that I have to sift through some of the stuff that is not positive and negative and maybe personal attacks of me and my character and who I am. So like when it comes to navigating having people, because when you put people in a reality TV show where there's a prize at the end, you're going to see competitiveness. You're going to see people doing what they have to do to try to figure out how they will make it to the finish line.
Yeah.
In real life, there's not so much that clear, defined finish line. There is more space for compassion and empathy and showing up and supporting one another, and it not having a manipulative reason between like
Hmm.
saying one thing here, saying another thing
Hmm.
there. A lot of people are very compassionate people, but that's not the show. That's not what they want people to see. That doesn't mean that's not who you are on the other side of the camera when
Correct.
you're not being
Yeah.
filmed.
I think that's the hard part. I think the hard part is people think whatever you did in the house or how you were, or you might have had a mixed up, had an argument, might have said things out your ass. Like, people think like that's you. And it's like, technically that's not me. I'm in the house playing for money. I'm gonna stay and do whatever I need to do, or
Yeah.
whatever, how the house is flowing, or how my relationship with people. But in reality, when you see me in the real life, then you got to get to know me in the real life. Our season was interesting because we had our first season of our first black winner. We never had a black winner before in the regular seasons of Big Brother. And when I put the 6 members together, and another member of mine, she came up with a plan. Another member of mine came up with the name of the cookout. And when we were all together, like, our goal was to make sure all 6 of us make it to the end, but everybody else that's not us has got to get out. And we were able to make that happen. But people called us all type of slurs, and all type of things. And mentally, when you come out the house, like, I just could not believe that people felt this way. And still to this day, I'm still blocking people and still trying to protect my peace. But now I'm at a different point in my life where I realize sometimes half of these people are kids, don't know what they're saying. Sometimes I just realize, you never know what somebody might be dealing with. And I just look at it wise, if you feel that way, I'll block you, so you ain't got to even worry about even me anymore. I am the king of the block button. Block, block, blockly block. Because I have learned that my experience and what I was playing in the house, just because you were watching it, you didn't experience what I was experiencing, or how conversations were, or picking up people's body language and their demeanor. You don't get that. And I refuse to give people that control to paint my narrative. So I just learned to just block. Now, I know you mentioned, Ben, like dealing with things and taking it head on. When it comes to the fandom, there's none of that. It's really impossible.
Yeah.
But I will say, as house guests, mentally, we had to all really check in with each other and have those conversations to allow us to develop the friendships and the relationships that we have today. And I'm very thankful for the type of cast that I had, because majority everybody was open-minded to building those relationships and making those type of conversations. So um, mentally, I just tell people, when it comes to reality TV, you got to ignore it. Surround yourself with people that are going to have your back, but um, be careful, because some people that you're close with might feel like you changed too. So that's another layer of, things you're dealing with when you come out the Big Brother house, because you go from being, oh, I'm just Derek, just working 9 to 5. I still work a 9 to 5, but I work a 9 to 5. Now it's like, oh no, you're Big D. Oh my God. Like, people stop you, want to talk to you, pictures and all that type of stuff. And sometimes the people around you be careful because some of the people around you might not like the way that you change. And then it kind of can build another layer of some issues that add to mental health where you think like, I'm worried about Big Brother and all the fan and the hate, but now also the people in my camp I'm worried about now. They're now like not there for me when you need them the most. So you really got to surround yourself with people that are going to be there for you when you get out of these type of reality shows.
Yeah. And we have to remember it's kind of like watching a sport. Like you can watch it from your TV or from your seat at a bird's eye view, but when
Yes,
you're on the field playing the sport, there is a completely different perspective. And I
completely.
love that you also have the perspective of kind of doing it as a younger person as well as doing it now as an adult,
Yes.
because we're starting to see some of the documentaries and things that are coming out about children being put in these positions of being actors, being in the spotlight, and navigating through all of that. And there's not a lot of mental health structure put into things to kind of guide people into healthy journeys
Yeah.
when it comes to the spotlight, because it is a corporation, it is a business where they're like focusing in on the dollar amount that they can make, sometimes not thinking about the collateral damage that they're creating in people's lives because they're utilizing this
Yeah.
person's image to kind of brand themselves and move themselves in a direction that they want to move.
Yeah. That's why I try my best to when these house guests, because right now Big Brother's airing, and we have a current season right now, and house guests have been getting eliminated. And I do the exit interviews, on my podcast. And even when I talk to them, I might have my opinions on how they play their game or their personality, but I always let them know you have to understand people are only judging you based on the game. Let people get a chance to know you in real life and who you are. And I understand a part of you on reality TV is you, but not the complete you. Because somebody can come on there and be like, I'm a ghost. I'm Casper the Friendly Ghost. And that's
Yeah.
what they play the whole entire time, visible. But in reality, you're like, oh my God, this person has a great personality. I didn't even know you were here because you were a ghost the whole time. So when I talk to these house guests, I always try to remind them their mental health is very important, and however they need to protect that, either that being not using a certain type of social media platform, or not watching the game back. Some people do that, but I am a firm believer that you should watch back your show so you just have an idea of what it was. But I understand everybody's experiences on TV might not be all pleasant. So I understand, like, you might not want to watch something that might be traumatizing to you. But I always say take it on as you can and stand your ground, but make sure you have that support behind you that's there for you mentally, that's going to help you and also have your back. Because like I said, it's a thing that it's going to go with you for the rest of your life, and people don't really understand it unless they're. I always think people used to bullshit when they used to say this, but I used to say people don't really understand it until you do it. Until
Yeah.
you do it, that's when you really understand it. So it's like it's crazy because the people that I'm close with, I still have my friends that I love at home, but mentally, the people that I like really talk to on a regular is the people that I played the game with, because they understand their life is not the same as it used to before. So they're like the only people I can really be like, oh, let me tell you about this. And thank you. I'm very thankful to have that because mentally it got me through some very, very, very deep times. I mean, just some of the things that you read and hear online, I have been called the N word all the way to the F word. Okay. All the way in between of, people telling you to off yourself, and, also calling you obesity and fat and like everything you could think of. And still to this day, and mentally it definitely did mess with me. It made me feel very insecure. So that shield that I was telling you about when I went into the house, gone. It was like it was like, baby, they came and tore it down with a wrecking ball. Like they were Miley Cyrus times a million on this wrecking ball and just tore it down. And even though I was fighting back, it was mentally taking a toll on me now in my real life. So now, you know, with my real friends, I'm running into arguments and problems and things like that because now I'm insecure in my friendships, or insecure when I go out in public, or insecure about things that I wasn't really insecure about beforehand. Now I'm like on edge, or if somebody says something like, you know, that triggers me about something that might have happened in the house because I'm reading stuff online, or oh, you don't support me, you don't think I was your favorite player, like I'm arguing my own friends, you know, about shit like that because of, you know, all the stuff I would read online that broke that shield that I had. And that's why I try to tell people, you mentally gotta be ready for what's gonna be thrown at you when you get done doing any type of show.
Yeah. And I think the fact that you have community with the
Yeah.
people that you were in the show with, as well as alumni from previous seasons, so that you can connect with them, it gives you that ability to exist around people who understand.
Yeah.
Because even when it comes to our childhood versus new childhoods
Yeah.
in the day and age of social media, I'm very grateful that my childhood mistakes and thoughts existed offline, to where that's not something I'm going to be judged for 30 years down the road when like someone looks up an old post I made when I was young and dumb and naive and didn't know
Yeah.
how the world works. But now we're living in a space where you don't necessarily have to be on a reality show anymore
True.
for your life to go
Yeah.
viral and everyone to feel they are allowed to have an opinion on your life and how you're allowed to live it. And that's why, like, when I talk to people who see my following and they ask, I'm trying to help my child grow theirs, or I'm trying to help me, and I'm like, be
Yeah.
ready, because
Ah.
it comes with a lot more. That because I started my positive talk series because I wanted to add positivity to the internet.
Yeah.
I wanted to have a space where conversations between people with different perceptions of the
Yeah.
world could communicate those things and maybe open people's eyes to things they wouldn't hear anywhere else. But that came with people's opinions of me, people hating who I brought on, people thinking that I shouldn't have certain guests, people messaging my family members who did not sign up for this life of being in the spotlight.
Wow.
And you start to kind of realize there's a price to pay for doing stuff in the spotlight, and not everyone's cut out for that. And mental health, you have to constantly be on that,
Yes.
and every new level of things that come, you have to be ready, because unfortunately previous seasons will considerably, they'll be replayed multiple times, so
Yes.
you're a part of history now of that show,
Yeah.
and people's opinions will continue to flow. It'll start to die down as new seasons come out,
Of
but new
course. I
things
mean,
will always pull your past show back to the spotlight,
of course.
where people will have an
Yeah.
opinion.
Yeah. I think what it comes down to, and also I can't see the comments, by the way.
Okay.
Um, but I will say this. I think the one thing that you said is be ready. Like people like don't understand that it comes with a lot of burden. And yes, you are right. It's not just reality stars, it's anybody that has a following. You have a following, but I will say this, we are now at a point that almost everyone almost has a following. Everyone is some type of influencer. Everybody's some type of celebrity. Everybody's some type of reality star. Everybody's some type of going viral. That is what it is nowadays. At some point, it's going to die out. Okay, and maybe it'll get to another level, but right now it's going to die out at some point, and it's going to be the next futuristic thing. Okay, but the one thing that you can say, I understand that there is times that people judge. You know, people were judging people in my cast that want to deal with me or be friends with me, and I remember my castmates saying, "You don't know him." Just because you watched him through a screen, I have talked to him personally personally inside and also outside the house. And that's the one thing that it reminds me of going back to my childhood days. Peer pressure. People want to peer pressure you into doing things that are against your will. Okay. And people have to understand you have one life, live it how you want to live it, be friends with who you want to be friends with. And it's okay to make mistakes. Everyone's not perfect. I've also learned in my life you can't hold everybody to a certain standard. Everyone's not going to hit that standard. But if you feel like, you know what, this is the standard I need to protect my peace and my space, and you need to let people, go, that's okay. But there's a way to do it,
Yeah.
I've also learned in life that when it comes down to holding grudges, I do not hold grudges. I believe in, hey, if we went our separate ways or you feel some type of way or, we end up not being who we are anymore, I wish you the best of luck. I did everything that I could as a person. There's nothing wrong that I could have done, but I do look at maybe I could have worked on this or worked on that, but that doesn't make you a bad person. Some people feel differently based on how they feel. And I have learned that. Big Brother has taught me that. My real life relationships have taught me that. Now that I'm 32, I have a whole different mindset. Like you could not tell 22, 21, turn up, let's get it. You could not tell that. You could not tell that Derek anything from ages I would say from ages 19 to maybe 28. You could not tell that Derek anything. But going into the 30s, completely different. So I think it's important that you do keep bringing this type of awareness, positivity. I have been on my positivity train. I would say probably since earlier this year. I've had a couple of life things that have changed in my life that has caused me to realize I've been doing better, but it was just more things I've learned that have caused me to go, okay, it's okay to be nice to people. And that's why I always tell the fans, give grace. Give grace to these people because they don't know. They're just living in a house.
Yeah.
You're watching them, but you got to give them grace because they also are they're playing the game. It's a TV show. It's not, it might be called reality TV because we're real. We have oxygen and blood going through our veins. We're not robots,
Yeah.
but it's still a reality show. You have to keep that in mind.
Yeah. And one thing that, as I grew on a social platform, was people reaching out and feeling that as someone in the spotlight and someone who has a lot of people watching, there's that social responsibility that people lay on you as, let's bring it back, I think. Let's get him back in. Invite. That's the best part about going live.
Sorry. Okay, I'm back.
I'm
back. Okay. Continue what you were saying. I'm so sorry.
So when it comes to being in the spotlight and people seeing that you have the attention of large audiences, they believe you have a social responsibility to bring awareness to causes and speak and be the voice of people that may be marginalized, may be suffering in lots of different ways. Have you navigated through that, and do you have a space where your heart lies, where you put time and energy into because that's something that you care about?
Yeah. The one thing I always spread awareness about is the plus size community. I always focus on making sure that people understand why it's important to show all different type of sizes, all different type of beauties, all different type of people, because if we're called it, as we said, reality TV, you got to show everybody in America. Just like when it comes to politics, we're seeing everybody in America, even the people we don't want to see, we're seeing them and we're interviewing their dumb asses. but we we are here to listen. So I always believe in showing what people look like, where they're from, what they're about, everything. I think that's so important, and I think people miss that sometimes. So I always spread awareness, and that's just because of the fact that when I wanted to go on Big Brother, I had my reasons. I was like, you never had a gay like me, okay? You've never had a big person like me. And I was also tied in. You also never had a black gay like me. Like I was hitting every box.
Yeah.
Because, usually, which is not a problem. I've always made it clear, there's all different type of gays, which that's what makes us this beautiful rainbow. Okay. But they usually always cast the same stereotype. The Broadway, woo, gay all the time, every fucking season. And I was so tired of it. I was like, when are they gonna cast someone that might be into video games and play sports and like the other side? So that was also my reason in doing it. But when I got out the Big Brother house and seeing so much negativity and seeing so much like how people call you fat and obesity, and they like to tie in, like, one thing they like to tie in is because people sleep in the house because I slept is because I was fat. You're fat and lazy. They love tying the word lazy with being big. Like, you're big because you're lazy. You're lazy because you're big. And those were things that I remember just being like, that's not true. And the crazy part is, there's people in the house that, which my cast will tell you, that slept more than me. Like, I was up in the morning. People were trying to like sneak in naps and sleep during the day and things like that. And it was just really hard to see. So now I always make sure, and tell you the truth, for my mental sake, I always make sure, like, I have followers that I know that are part of the plus community, and I always want to share love and bring that positivity to them, to let them know, like, you can do it, you can still go for it, do what you want to do. Don't let nobody ever judge you or stop you from what you're doing. I recently went to P-Town, sidebar, for the first time in my life. Went to Bear Week for the first time in my life, and it was beautiful. I could not believe that this was just a thing. And it was just so good to see so many guys that look like me, that gave me like that confidence boost that I probably haven't had in a very long time. But I always make awareness to when it comes to the big plus community, because a lot of these shows, and this is something I've talked about, a lot of these shows don't pick a lot of us. And I'm so tired of seeing that, because there's no reason we shouldn't get an opportunity to compete. And I feel like they try to make these shows into fitness gurus, and I'm like, baby, you're a reality show. This is not the Olympics. And I need reality shows to understand that even people that might be small, big, tall, short, are people that you should take the time to make sure that you show them. And you're making a reality show, so make it fair for everybody. Like, Michael Jordan's not walking up here in this competition show. We don't need no top athlete. This is not CrossFit or the Olympics or a professional sport. This is a reality show. It should be stupid and fun and all different types of walks of life. So I always voice that, because I know there's people out there that probably feel like they're not going to pick me because I look like this or look like that. I don't have the look. I will tell you, keep going for what you want to go for, because at the end of the day, you never know. You never know.
Yeah. And I think something that you touched on is like when shows and pretty much anywhere in business start to kind of pick the most stereotypical type of way to represent any type of group of people,
Yeah.
it can be dangerous for for the people being represented, as well as when it comes to seeing that repetitive image of this is what gay looks like, or this is what a
Yes.
reality TV show person
Yes.
looks like. It gets you in that space of, especially someone like me, when I first started my journey
Yeah.
of fighting for LGBT rights, and it was very much focused around my story,
Yeah.
because that was the only story I was tied to from start to where I was now.
Yeah.
But as I started diving in, I started realizing so many spaces were not serving the community in the best way possible.
Yes.
And the reason why is you start to look at the people that are running the events, the people that are holding the spaces, they weren't diversifying at all. And when they
Hmm.
tried to diversify, they wanted the diverse people to fit into the mold
Hmm.
of the person that they're trying to diversify. So you have to diversify, but you also have to do that in a way that brings authenticity,
Yes.
brings fair representation to where voices aren't being silenced and people aren't being forced to fit into a mold they were never meant to fit in the
Hmm.
first place.
Hmm.
And that's a journey that if you dive into fighting for human rights, if you're fighting for other marginalized groups, you have to realize you're not just fighting for people who align with you perfectly. You're fighting for the whole space, the whole community.
Hmm.
And until you dive in and educate yourself on what that looks like and what that feels like and means, you can't do a good
That
job.
is true. And I keep trying to tell people something I always say, Black trans people are always the highest at risk when it comes to our community. I will keep saying that because that's important. And Ben, that's a whole nother conversation. The diversity in our community is absolutely a struggle. Absolutely a struggle. Awareness and things like that. I try to let people know, like, you have to look at everybody and include everybody. And that's why when it comes down to these shows, and I might say something a little problematic, I believe there's a show that used to include everybody that does not anymore. And I won't say what that show is, but it is one of those reality shows that think they're the training for the Olympics, but in reality they should be including everybody that does reality shows. And I hope it will get back to the way it used to be, because it used to be better than it is now. But I feel like when it comes to um, the world and the world we live in, and especially in our community, we're still not at where we need to be at. Even though me going to P Town and including, I love that we include bears and bigger people. I mean, which is, I get it. You can't force people to go, but predominantly all the men that are going are white. Is not a lot of POCs that go. They might not even know about it. That's another thing. So I'm always like, grab a friend that don't look like you and include them.
Yeah.
That's what I always try to tell people. And I am very good. Even my friend groups know how loud I am when it comes to that. I'm all like, who's that? Let me see this party. Oh, no, we need to add some more. Who you got? Who you know that's somebody else that you're friends with? Because I believe that you should include people, because it's important. And another thing that I can say, Ben, that recently I have learned on, check up on your people. Check up on your friends. Let me tell you something. The one thing that could change someone's life, because you never know what somebody's going through. How are you doing? That's why I asked you when I started. How are you doing? How are you feeling? Because you never know what somebody's going through, and maybe you just listening to them can help them maybe take this big weight or what they've been dealing with off their shoulders. So just keep that in mind.
Yeah. And I mean, when it comes to people who are in the public eye, a lot of criticism is constantly thrown their way, and that's what they're being bombarded with constantly. So sometimes people don't realize how important just a how are you type of message can be. And I think that that's something that people forget. We forget that you have that power to a complete stranger. You have that power to siblings, loved ones across the board, coworkers, like your neighbor. All of those people can be impacted in a way just as easily just by smiling or saying, "Hope you have a great day," or throwing out a compliment like, "I love what you're wearing today."
Yeah.
Those types of things can pull people back from the edge or pull them
Yes.
out of the black holes that they're living in. That
Yeah.
some people are really good at putting on that smile. And I mean, you see the list of names of celebrities that we've lost from suicide,
Yep.
and most of them were on the list of the funniest people,
Yes.
the nicest people, the
Yep.
kindest people.
Yes.
Those people who are creating that much kindness and happiness in the world are probably doing it because they understand the pain and the darkness that exists in others because they're probably experiencing it or have experienced it themselves.
Yeah, I agree, and that's why I always tell people you never know what they're going through. You never know what they're going through. I had a mental breakdown, not at the Big Brother because I came out like a bad bitch, but I would say as going into season 24 and gaining all the weight, gaining all this weight back, not having a job, and people, oh, you're jobless, you don't have a job, go get a job, go do, and they don't even know that you're trying to get a job. Like, I'm trying. Yeah, I have to sit here and do these Instagram lives and TikToks and cameos and things like that because I ain't got no money. I'm trying my best to make it. So you making fun of me don't help. And I remember just going into the new season of Big Brother after my season, I had a mental breakdown because I just felt like when you come down from after doing a show and having to fight your way out of it because there's so much hate and nastivity that comes with it. You kind of sit there and you go, my God, like, what am I doing? You know, it's like, I don't got a job. I got shit. Like, you like thinking about yourself. You're like, oh my God, what am I doing? And I remember it was just one comment that just took me out. And it was just like, it just made me feel just so horrible. I'll never forget the comment. And it was just like, have you looked at yourself in the mirror? And I remember being like, it was like, question mark. Have you looked yourself in the mirror? Then the next line is like, if you have looked at yourself in the mirror, you should probably hit the mirror, take that glass and kill yourself. And I remember just being like, whoa, like, this is dark. And I just couldn't believe there's people out there that do that. But me, it did break me because I was also going through other stuff, not having a job, trying to figure out what's next. I'm stressed about rent, stressed about life. Um, but I remember after going through like probably a day or so of like feeling depressed, I remember just coming out of it and just remembering, ain't none of these motherfuckers ever gonna say shit to my face in real life. And I've been waiting for the day. I'm like, I go to every event. I've been waiting for somebody to say something slick so we can get it on and pop it. And I had to remember that. And that's why I try to tell people, people will hide behind their phone, their computer, anything, but they will not say it to you in person. So you have to remember that. Have to.
Yeah. The amount of times where people have sent me messages and I'm just like, look, I put my face out there for everyone to see my
Yeah.
opinion and the way that I navigate the world. And I take it as it comes because that's part of this job. And when it comes to that journey, it's like most people are hidden behind screen names and anime pictures that I have no idea. And I'm just like, you know what? Like, the little kitty cat that you're commenting on with all these hateful
Yeah.
words, like hiding. I'm sitting here saying, like, this is who I vote for. This is my opinion. This is
As
what
you
I fight
should.
for. These are the people I believe in. This is where my energy goes. Like, I'm sharing all of that, hoping to inspire others to know that you can use your voice
Yes.
to fight for the things you believe in. You can stand behind a political person who's not perfect. None of them are because we're all human and no one can be
And
perfect.
we know that, but at the end of the day, we know we don't want that. We want somebody who got a common sense who's gonna look out for
Exactly.
us.
And
Okay.
it's just like people will put a lot of weight on it. And
Yeah.
what I've had to reflect on is just looking at all the people who are inspired by it, who do look to me and say, because your message today, it gave me a new perspective or a new way
Mm-hmm.
to look at life. It gave me another reason to push on a little bit further. And I'm like, you know what? That is why I'm doing it. The stuff that comes with it is very
Of
unfortunate, and it
course.
will be my burden to bear,
Yeah.
of course, and people who are close to me. But something I found out when I started talking to my friends about interviewing you and having you on here was there's so much of a community around reality TV shows that people host their own spaces where they kind of do their own Big Brother type of show on different platforms where they travel to different states and then have Big Brother or other guests from other reality TV shows kind of host the event. And
Mm-hmm.
I was very surprised because I was just like, wow, that sounds like a lot of fun to just do it on like a miniature
Yeah.
level and
Yeah.
kind of get to travel around to different states and meet different people who are passionate about the same thing and getting to experience it. One of my friends, Eric, he is responsible for kind of hosting some of those spaces as
Okay.
well as participating. And I was like, that's really cool to know that stuff like that is happening as well. It's not just the big TV show
Yeah.
platforms that are doing it.
There's so much. There's so many, and I love it. And that's the beautiful side. That's the beautiful side of why I'm so thankful of doing the show, because I met so many people. There's so many people with walks of life. There's so many different opportunities that I sit there and I go, wow, like I can't imagine I met this person. I can't imagine that I got this opportunity to do this. And you never would know. And even the fans that and the reason why I smile, because I can see them, it's great when you see the fans, and these fans will come to not one event, two event, three. They will come to all of them constantly, and that allows us to be able to say, "Wow, I know who that person is," or "Wow, I know who that is," or "Wow, we did talk before," and it's so great to see. And I'm just very thankful for um, having that opportunity, and I'm very thankful for all the fans that are supportive of Big Brother, of supportive of myself, other alums, everything. And I love that they continue doing that. You know, they have Sequester, they play BB Sequester online, they play it in person, same thing with the Survivor fans and families. Like, you know, I love that the fans are very involved. But everything that you do have to understand when it comes to reality TV, there is good and there is bad. And you just have to be prepared for that and understand what comes with it. Because sometimes, you know, fans will ask me, I love the show, I want to do it so badly. And I'm like, yeah, go for it.
Uh,
See what happens, go for it. But I would never, because I never want to I never want to tarnish anything that they love so much. But it's always crazy when I talk to fans after the get, or somebody gets done the show and I'm talking to the people and I'm like, so how was it? Was it how you thought it was going to be? And they're like, looking at me like a deer in headlights, like, oh my God, it was absolutely insane. And I'm like, yeah, I told you it's not what you think it is.
oh.
But I'm so glad that me and you were able to, you know, obviously have this conversation. You know, I see all the stuff that you're doing, Ben. I think it's great. It's positive. I'm trying my best to, you know, not be the wicked witch of the East anymore, or the West, or whatever it's called. And I have been working on myself the last couple years, because I feel like I've been very negative. I have been very, you know, not positive. And I think doing Big Brother, it did help. It definitely brought a lot of awareness of things I need to work on. And then over the years, it also taught me a lot about the people that I surround myself with, and realizing it's okay to understand that, you know, people that you might have in your life forever might not be your end friends, might be your beginning friends, might be your big middle friends. And I have learned that, you know, over the course of time. And I never wish any of them ill. I always learn to just be positive and understand, like, it's just, we're not working out, and that's okay. I wish you the best of luck, and it's okay to make new friends. And I have taken on that new friend thing, because I used to not want to make new friends. I was very like, I'm Regina George. You do what I say. You do what I say. We stay here. This is what we do. This is the time. Da da da. All that. And I had to realize that it's okay to make new friends, and it's okay to maybe rekindle friendships that you never got a chance to give a chance to, because you were so distracted with the friends that you had currently. So, you know, keep in mind, if I had to say anything to the viewers that are watching or anything, always check up on people, ask people what they're doing. If you see someone, because I've had some people I've seen say anything a little weird, on social media or something to make a red flag go off, call them, text them, have a hey, you okay? What's going on?
Yeah.
What's happening? Have those conversations, because you never know what somebody can be going to. And people have rough days. People go through things, and like you said, they can have a big smile. I literally went to Big Brother events in the past, having the worst day, the worst everything that's just crashing behind me. And I still had to put a smile on. Something I don't talk about a lot, when I came out the Big Brother house, because keep in mind, you lose 4 months of your life of not knowing what's going on if you stay long enough. And things can change. And I remember coming out the Big Brother house and finding out, my niece took her own life. And that was very hard for me to take in. But I also had to go the next day and, hey, everybody's Big D. I could not let that stop me for what I'm doing, because I signed up for this.
Yeah.
And when I had a chance to decompress, I didn't have time to, because I had to deal with the hate online. I had to deal with one of my castmates being upset with me, and all this stuff at once, and just all this happening. Then coming home, then like showing up and not knowing, why is my house so blank? You learn so much, when you do this. So I always say, make sure you take the time to check up on people around you. And thank God that when I did finally was able to take a second, I did have a friend check up on me. And then I was able to, oh my God, it's been this. Like, I was able to let go and be able to deal with it. So check up on your people. If there's someone you haven't talked to in a while, check up on people. I check up on everybody. Even people that are like, not even my friends. How you doing? What's going on? What's going on in your life? What's happening? How's your love life? How's your work life? People want to talk. And when you allow them to talk, it allows them to feel good about themselves or what they're dealing with.
Yeah. I think that that's a really important message for people to know. And for someone who has done the Big Brother thing, and now you're kind of on the other side moving forward, what are some things that people who want to be there to support you and the future that you're building and wanting to have? I think it's important for people to also know that you have goals and they might be able to help. And it's okay to put that out into the universe so
Yeah.
people know, because people do love you. I've seen it pop up many times in the comments. And of course, when you see across all the platforms
I
where
can't see any comments. So I'm so sorry if I didn't
with,
shout anybody out. I can't see any comments. I'm so
but
sorry.
you're getting a lot of love. So when it
Oh, well,
comes to
thank you.
people who love and support you and want to see you move towards your goals, what are some things that you're working on now that people can help support you on?
You know what? There's not really. If I'm a very because I've learned. I used to be like, it's all about me. Um, I have learned that if I have to give advice, what I want people to do, support the people around you, support the small businesses they're doing, support whatever dream they're going for. If someone starts a podcast, support them, share it, like it, like just support the things they're doing. They get a promotion at work, girl, let's celebrate. Celebrate those little wins for people. For me, I got the stuff that I love. I have a roof over my head. I have a loving mother. I feel like I have a great following. I have a podcast show where I talk about Big Brother with my best friend Tiffany. I will say the things that I'm working on. I'm working on my weight loss journey. And I'm not doing that because of the things I read online. I'm doing that because of health. Diabetes runs in my family, high blood pressure runs in my family. And I never want to be a skinny bitch. I'm never gonna be a skinny bitch. I'm a bear for life. Don't ever get it twisted. But I definitely want to just tighten things, and I want to feel my best. Now that I'm 32, I just don't want to get to an age where it's like impossible to like get myself the weight off. Not saying there's ever an age limit on it, but I'm at 32 complaining about my back. I can't imagine if I get to 50 and I still carry some weight that's not at least put together. So there's nothing really. Just continue. I would say this: spread love to everybody. If you do want to support me, hey, send me a good little tweet every once in a while. You can hit me with a follow. It's not that deep to me. But I just think I'd rather for you to send that love to people that really do need it. Not saying I don't need it, but I just feel like there's other people probably in your life. Just pay attention to them because you never know what someone's going through, and it's important.
Yeah. Well, thank you
No,
so much for coming on
thank
here and having
you.
this conversation. I really enjoyed it, and your energy is definitely explosive in the best way.
Thank you.
And I think you sharing that with the world will just naturally attract beautiful people into your life. And I'm
Yeah,
looking forward to seeing what life brings you.
thank you.
And if there's ever anything that you can think of that I can help support you through, feel free to reach out. I am a coach, so
I love that.
I'm the same as you. Like, I'm constantly reaching out. I'll be checking up on you as well, just to see how you're
Oh, thank
doing a week or a
you.
month from now. But I really do mean it. You seem like a really great person, and if we ever get the opportunity to meet in person, I would love
Oh,
that.
I would love that too. And Ben, please keep up everything you're doing, and just remember, um, you are changing people's lives, and um, that's how you have to look at things when you have this type of following. I love that you're spreading the positivity and the awareness. Just continue doing that. That's where I'm at. I always spread awareness, and also I'm also real with you. If you need, like, I want to know this person like me, I'm gonna tell you they don't fucking like you. Okay, that's the type of person I am. Should I go
Uh,
do this? No. Do I need this job? Yes. I'm that type of friend in person. So,
Perfect.
but I appreciate it. So, thank you guys for having me on here. And, I hope people are following and subscribing to you and all that good stuff. So, everyone have a great day. And like I said, just check up on somebody, family member, a cousin, someone on the street, somebody rude to you. Be like, what's wrong? You okay? You sound
Exactly.
angry. Customer service, be nice to that customer service person. You
Amen.
don't know what they're going through. They probably had like 10 calls of people cursing them out. Just be extra nice to them. Be patient. Take your time. It's okay. Take your time. So, yes, I do have to hop to a meeting, but it was so good.
Awesome. Well, have a good one, and I'll talk to you soon.
Thank you. Bye, everybody. Bye.
Bye.